To the knockout stages we go now, as we now have the 16 nations that, of course, made it through the group stages into, of course, the second phase of the competition. Who is going to go through to the quarterfinals now? That's the big question, and I hope to answer it right for you next. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction video. Today is all about the round of 16, as of course some nations have packed their bags, where 16 of the best in Europe are here for the real deal. We're talking about the knockout football. We could go to extra time, we could even get to penalties. But when we get that far, we'll get into all of that and more in a second. Of course, big shout out to the VIPs, they are the patrons. You know who you are. And again, if you're new, smash your subscribe, boys and girls. Your one-stop shop for Euro 2024 is right here under one Ruski. Some of the big boys were absolutely woeful in the final group games, and of course we have seen some refreshing changes to the competition with the likes of Slovakia, Slovenia, and even Georgia making it into the last 16. Will those nations be able to get that next step, get into the quarterfinals? Let's, of course, take a long, hard look at it in a second. Of course, once again, smash the like, 50 likes if you can. 50 likes, of course, if you're a fan of one of these nations. But let's, of course, jump into the vortex and remind ourselves at how we got to the stage. That's right. First and foremost, we're going to have a recap of course, the state of play in the groups. Of course, we are talking about Euro 2024. And, of course, we're going to recap those final matches. First and foremost, let's recap the results from this past weekend's action. Of course, Germany opened up with a 1-1 draw against the Swiss. I went with a 2-1 win myself. The Scots crashed out after losing to Hungary, but they'll believe it, they're also out at this stage as well. 1-0 loss on the night. I went the other way. Meanwhile, Italy picked up a 1-1 draw against Croatia to book second spot in Group B. I went with a 2-1 away win myself. The Spanish did the business against Albania. 2-0 win was my prediction, just the 1-0 win on the night. Over to Group C, we saw the Danes and Serbia duke it out to a 0-0 draw. Serbia packing the bags, Denmark going through as a runner-up. England also toothless against Slovenia. 0-0 on the night, 2-0 winners in my eyes. The French could only muster a draw against the Poles, who were already eliminated. 1-1 draw, final score there. I went with a 2-0 win. Got that one wrong. Meanwhile, I was close to the money with the Dutch and the Austrians. Went with the 2-2 on the night. On that one, 3-2 it was in the end for Austria. Hot to trot Austria. Meanwhile, into Group E, we've got Romania. They could only draw against Slovakia. 1-1 in the end. I went with a 2-0 win for the Romanians. And, of course, the Belgians were sloppy and poor against Ukraine. Could only muster a 0-0, which, of course, eliminated Ukraine in the process. But the surprise of the round, of the competition, was Georgia's convincing 2-0 win over Portugal. Goodness gracious me, what a result that was. Who'd have thunk it? I didn't even expect them to get a point in this competition, but they were absolutely phenomenal, and credit to the victory. So 2-0 win for them. I went the other way. And, of course, Turkey picked up a 2-1 win over Czech Republic. I went with the draw myself. So those are, of course, my picks. What about the tables? Well, the tables look like this, guys. Here it is. Confirmed in all its glory. Germany, Switzerland go through. Hungary, unfortunately, do crash out. The Spanish and Italians, they go through. Croatia, Albania, also on the exit heat. Meanwhile, into Group C, England, Slovenia, and Denmark going through to the last 16. And to the back end here, Group D, we have Austria, group winners there. France in runners-up. The Dutch make it through. Romania, Belgium, and Slovakia also squeaking by, with, of course, Portugal, Turkey, and Georgia completing the pack. What about you guys, though? We, of course, do have a prediction league. It is wide open, so make sure you keep on predicting with that. And how, of course, is it looking right now? Well, let's take a closer look at it. Hot off the press. Now, this is, of course, the final whistle are just about gone in the last games in Group F. So this is the state of play right now. As you can see, James OFC picking up 12 points for his efforts this week. Summer 2018 also 12. Xandus also in there with 12. I'm all the way down here with a measly 1.5, which of course has not done me any favours with the leaderboard of 8th. But I don't know if that is completely 100%. We'll, of course, check back into the later parts of the competition. But currently, that's the state of play with Xandus leading the charge at the moment. Of course, into the last 16 we go now. And, of course, we now have our completed bracket. So here we go. Taking a long, hard look at it before we jump into it. We do have the Spanish up against Georgia. Denmark take on Germany. Portugal take on Slovenia. We have France against Belgium. Romania against the Dutch. Austria against Turkey. We have England against Slovakia. And the Swiss take on Italy. Of course, it is a lopsided bracket with a lot of the bigger boys on the left-hand side, with, of course, a much weaker bracket on the other side. But don't ride out Austria. Don't ride out the Swiss. England, they might lick their lips. They might think they're going to go the distance, but it's going to be tricky no matter what. But let's, of course, take a closer look at the games one by one and give you my analysis. All right, then first let's take a little look at Spain up against Georgia. Now this match will take place at 30th of June over in Köln. Now they have played each other 7 times since 2012. 6 wins for the Spanish, just 1 win for Georgia. There's been no draws heading into this one. Spain, 92% form for them over the last 6, winning 5 in the bounce up against a Georgia side who have been the surprise package of the tournament by a distance. Just 1 defeat in the last 6 for them, 75% form for them heading into this one. The most recent match between these two sides was back in November 2023. It was a 3-1 win for the Spanish, and that one and only victory for Georgia was back in June 2016. It's been a long, long time before heading into this one. I am coming at you quite raw about this with no bookies odds, I don't think, so it's going to have to be from my gut on this one. I am going to back, unfortunately. I love Georgia. They've been fantastic in this tournament. One of the most exciting teams alongside Austria, alongside Romania. Very good to watch, and of course, I hope they get past them, but I just don't see it. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win for the Spanish. The Georgians will get a goal. They'll cause some problems, but ultimately they'll fall a little short. Next up, we have Germany. They're going to be taking the hosts, of course, taking on Danes. That's right, former winners way back when, of course, back in 1992. They have played each other. These two sides have played each other 6 times since 1992, since that victory from the Danes, and the Germans have only won once. Been 2 victories for the Danes, 3 draws, but these two sides will lock horns on the 29th of June at the BVB Stadium over in Dortmund. Germany coming into this match on 83% form for them right now, unbeaten in at least the last 6 matches. The Danes also unbeaten over the last 6 matches, 75% form for them, however, drawing the most recent 3. Now, the most recent match between these two sides ended up as a draw, but in fact, 3 of the last 4 matches have all ended up all square between these evenly matched local neighbours, that's right. But the last match that these two sides played that resulted in a victory was in fact a victory for Germany back in June 2012. It was at the Euros, and it was at the group stage, and it was a 2-1 win heading into this one. We do have basic odds on this one. Of course, the Germans are favoured here. The Danes are, of course, underdogs, and the draw is also an option. But ultimately, I'm going to back the Germans on this. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win, comfortably done. And that, of course, will send them through. Next up, we have Portugal, and they'll be taking on Slovenia, that's right, over in the Frankfurt Arena on July the 1st. That's right, Portugal under Martinez, 67% form for them over the last 6, up against the Slovenia side, 67% form for them right now, unbeaten in the last 6 matches. Now, these two nations have played each other just the one time, and of course, that was back in March 2024. It was a 2-0 win for Slovenia, goodness gracious me. So they've got Portugal on toast here, guys. Roberto Martinez has flattered to deceived so far in this tournament. Easy qualification phase. Easy couple of games, but he blew it when, of course, it needed the most against the Georgians. So they were already qualified as group winners, and maybe they underestimated their opponent, but it just shows you what's on stake if you really take full advantage or take your opponent for granted. Slovenia on the flip side got out of a difficult Group C, and of course made things awkward, and also yet to taste defeat in this competition thus far. Coming into this one, again, got no bookies odds, so I'm going to have to go with my gut. It's all about my gut, but unfortunately, I am backing the Portuguese to come past this one, this challenge, navigate this, get into the last 8. Again, 2-1 win. Portugal should have too much quality, and they should deliver the 4th time of asking. Next up, we have a ding-donger, of course, at the bottom of the bracket here. It's France. It is Belgium, who, of course, is going to come out on top on this one. Both sides really flat, really been boring so far in this competition, but can, of course, they raise their game when it matters in the knockout stages. This will take place also July the 1st at the Dusseldorf Arena. France up against Belgium. Deschamps up against Tedesco. They have played each other 13 times since 1938, with the French winning 6 of them, the Belgians winning just 3, and there's been 4 draws between the two sides. France, though, unbeaten in the last 6 games, however, drawing 3 of the last 4. They're the draw specialists at the moment. Meanwhile, Belgium, 67% form for them right now. 1-1, lost 1, and draw 1 thus far, but really poor in the last game against the Ukraine. The most recent match between these two sides was in the Nations League semi-final. It was a 3-2 win back in 2021 for the French, that's right. If you turn the clock back to June 2015, that was the last chance, or the last time Belgium picked up a victory in a 7-goal thriller way back when. Once again, got basic odds on this one. The French are favoured, of course. The Belgians are the underdogs. The draw is an option, as well as penalties. I think I'm going there, guys. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win for the French. They're, again, just like the Portuguese, just like England, just like Italy. They've kind of gone under the radar, not really performed at the moment, but I think they'll get their act together when it matters against the big boys and raise their game and, of course, push them through to the quarterfinals. Hopping on over to the other side of the bracket, we've got Romania. They're going to be hosting the Dutch. That's right, Romania coming at you as group winners. The Dutch having to go through the difficult path as one of the third place teams, of course, taking place at the Munich football arena, aka the Allianz Stadium, on the 2nd of July. It'll be Romania with Odinescu in the dugout, the Netherlands with Koeman in the dugout. Of course, Romania so far so good for them. 42% form for them. They were heading into this just one defeat in the last 5, but however, just one win in the last 6, and that was against the heavyweights against Ukraine. Meanwhile, the Dutch, 58% form for them right now. Of course, a 1-1, lost 1, and drawn 1 in the tournament. What we're going to get from the Dutch, of course, they are one of the stronger nations on this side of the bracket. And of course, they will be looking at this as a potential run to the tournament themselves, of course. 8 times they have played each other since 2005. 1 win for Romania, 6 wins for the Dutch, 1 draw as well. Of course, the most recent match between these two sides back in November 2017, it was a victory for the Dutch. That's right. Bookies odds, got none of those. And you know what? It's all down to me on this one. I am going to back my dark horse, my breath of fresh air, and I'm going to back the Romanians to come out of this via penalties. The Dutch have been a little bit limp, and a little bit poor so far, and I can't see them raising a game against a cutthroat. All systems go Romania side. I'm going to back them. Penalty shootout. They go through to the quarterfinals. But who will they take on? Standing in the way will be either Austria or the Turkish. That's right. Turkey coming at you as runners-up in Group F. Austria, fantastic in their group, which was Group D, of course. Let's take a long, hard look at this one then, coming at you. All right, then, Turkey will take on Austria, coming at you at the Leipzig Stadium on the 2nd of July. Of course, with Montello in the dugout for Turkey, Ralf Rangnick in the dugout for Austria. They have played each other 8 times since 1982. 4 wins for Turkey, 3 wins for Austria, 1 draw at the moment. Turkey, 42% form for them at the moment, 2 wins of the last 3. Coming at you as runners-up in Group F, up against the hot shots, Austria, of course, who did lose in the opening match against the French. But that was, of course, due to an own goal. And, of course, to be honest with you, I think the Austrians were the better side. They've been the breath of fresh air. They're the dark horse, that's a call in, but can they get it right this time against Turkey? The path is there for them. The path is there to a semi-final at the very least. But coming at you 8 times. They last played each other, these two nations, back in March 2024, this calendar year, where Austria put 6 past Turkey back in a friendly. Meanwhile, Turkey's last victory was back in March 2016. Can they get it right this time? We, of course, have to be patient to see if we can come out on top of this one. But again, no odds for this one. I do like the Austrians. They have been my one of those teams. Romania, Georgia have been very, very fascinating to watch and exciting to watch. And the Swiss as well. Austria, for me, are the dark horse to avoid. And they're going to be the dark horse to avoid on this side of the bracket. They could go very, very far. And especially with what I predicted in the previous game, they've got semi-finals or quarterfinals for sure written all over them. They've got the path there. Can they get it right? I do think so. They're going to go for it here. 2-0 win over Turkey in the bag. Turkey bow out. The Austrians under Rangnick continue into England's south now. They take on Slovakia. That's right. Coming at you as well. That's coming at you this coming weekend, I believe. It's actually on Sunday, of course. But England need to raise their game somewhat. Slovakia, though, have been all right so far in this competition. Now, these two sides will play over in Gelsenkirchen on the 30th of June, of course. Played each other 6 times since 2002. 5 wins for England, nothing for Slovakia. 1 draw between the two sides of England. 58% form for them at the moment. Just 1 defeat in the last 6. As for Slovakia, 1 defeat in the last 6. 67% form for them heading into this one, of course. England did top their group, but of course not with the best performances so far, but it's business at the moment, and they got it right so far to be at this stage. And when you look at the side of this bracket, it does look favourable for whoever is on this side of the bracket. England did take care of business against Slovakia the last time they played back in September 2017 with a 2-1 win. It's actually been back-to-back wins for England over Slovakia, conceding just the 1 goal in the last 3 matches between these two sides. Again, got no bookies odds, but England are expected to win this game, and they should win this game with the quality that they have. I'm going to back the English to come out top convincingly, and maybe even put a performance of the round, and of course for their tournament, to get the fans back on sides, to get them believing again, as of course they look forward to a quarterfinal. But who will they play? That's right, it's between the Swiss and the Italians, of course. Another round of matches there that feature neighbours, of course, with the Swiss who border Italy. That's right. Who's going to come out on top? This ding-donger coming at you on Berlin, the 29th of June at the Olympic Stadium. Switzerland with Yakin at the dugout, Italy with Spalletti at the dugout. Played each other 16 times since 1954. We've got 2 wins for the Swiss. We've got 6 wins for Italy, and there's been 8 draws between the two sides. The Swiss, unbeaten so far in this competition, unbeaten in the last 6 matches too. 75% form for them at the minute. Just 1 win at the last 4, though, drawing 3 at the last 4 sure they are the draw specialists up against Italy. 67% form for them right now. Back-to-back games without a win and do come into this limping rather than running at the moment. Now, these two sides did play each other back in November 2021. It ended up as a draw. In fact, 5 of the last 6 matches between these two sides have ended as draws, of course. The bookies do go in favour of Italy. They are favoured here, of course, but Switzerland, just like Austria, just like Romania, are dark horses to really give you something different to cheer on in this competition. If they're not your home nation, these are nations that are going to go deep and going to cause some problems. But the Italians are favoured on this one. For me, I would love to see the Swiss go through. I really would, but I do think experience will raise up here, and I think the Italians will get it right. But they ain't going to do it the easy way. They're going to have to do it, of course, via penalties. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, penalty shootout. Italy know how to do it, and they'll get it right this time. And that, of course, will set up these quarterfinals. That's right. Let's have a look at it. Spain will take on Germany. Then it'll be the Portuguese up against France in a stacked half on one side of the bracket. Meanwhile, Romania against Austria in what appears to be, the crazy path to the final. And then England take on Italy, which will be a ding-dong affair on that one. But it does set up for a bit of a cracker over in Euro 2024. That, my friends, is what I've got for you. Of course, don't forget we do have a prediction league. It is still free. It's still wide open. Get amongst it to see if you out-predict me, the prediction king. But that, my friends, is what I've got for you. Subscribe, smash the like. We'll be back, of course, for some more videos, more predictions whenever we get them. But until then, that's the last 16. Get in amongst it. I'll see you later for the next one.